Stephanie Baker. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
This is like once a year appearance
Yeah,
for Stephanie.
That is.
It must be emergency or
National Preparedness Month.
It
Yes.
is. Oh my gosh. And that's one thing we may think we are prepared, but maybe we're not. What are the most common emergencies in our county?
Well, normally you're thinking weather-related events, which sometimes stem into power outages. Now, power outages can be for other reasons as well, whether that's, unfortunately now, things like cyber or people attacking infrastructure or things like that. But a lot of those real common events, if you want to look at how to get prepared, you can kind of start with a lot of things. A lot of emergencies have stuff in common. So if I know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to have to stay home for a few days, do I have the supplies I need? If I'm not at home and something happens, can all the family members communicate? Sure. Doing those things first kind of helps make it easier. You've got a lot of it done, and then you can kind of look at specifics and other things you might need for particular events.
Stephanie, I learned my lesson during that big ice storm a few years ago, and we were without power for 8 days in the middle of the winter. And we were not prepared for that situation. And it's a tough situation, but it's amazing how some of these little things can really make a difference.
You know, I think those winters, sometimes you just have to practice. So you say, okay, well, we're going to turn the furnace off for a day and do things like close off rooms and see how warm it stays. Decide to camp in the summer. So you set up a tent in the middle of the living room and you try to make it fun, but then you've actually done it. And so when it happens, it's a little bit easier. So.
I think some people, as soon as power goes out, they open up the refrigerator, and you should not do that.
Right. They say 4 hours at the refrigerator and 48 hours if the freezer is full, that the food stays safe. Okay. So, you know, you always want to report if you have a power outage. You kind of look at where it's at, how big of a region. Consumers asks that, you know, even if you think they know, go ahead and put that in, and then you start getting updates about when restoration might happen.
One of the first things that I think of, like when the power goes out or if there's a storm, is some of my neighbors, maybe that are elderly, that live by themselves. And that's one thing. We really need to take care of our neighbors.
Yeah, have those plans. And we always encourage people that maybe they're on medical equipment or things like that to have backups and plans. And who are they going to call and how do they sort of deal with those systems? Because we want to keep them independent and in their home and safe, as opposed to having them have to go someplace else because of the event.
Yeah, and you know, those ice storms, sometimes they take out cell towers, and people's phones don't work.
Right.
So
a lot of people have pets, and we got to take care of our pets during emergencies. What should we do?
Yeah, well, that's having some of those things together, and I just recently bought a muzzle for my dog, and not because I think the dog is vicious, but I've thought if he gets hurt in some ways, and I need to try to wrap or dress or help or carry him somewhere, you know, his reaction's going to be to want to kind of nip and that type of thing. So even for other events, that's valuable. And then the idea of keeping a photo with you, just because if either the pet runs off, they get scared, or something to sort of show this is my animal type thing, so that you can get them back.
You know, I saw the other day maybe printing important phone numbers on a laminated card. That way you can have that on your person if your phone, or if someone needs to reach someone, you have that on.
Well, in the South, with the hurricanes and flooding, pets got separated all the time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of places you can't take pets, as far as from a shelter standpoint. So I did look. There's a couple web pages that tell you pet approved hotels, and one was Bring Fido, which I thought was a great name. You know, that there are ways out there so that if you do have to leave your home for some reason with a pet, it's always great if you can have your neighbors that are comfortable to come over and take care of them or let them out. You know, if there happened to be a chemical spill in your area and you can't get home, to have the ability to have other people go and check on them as well.
Stephanie, what role do you and the health department play compared to, say, first responders, police, fire, and EMS during an emergency?
You know, a lot of our work is communications. Letting people know how to stay safe during those events, whether that's exposure to chemicals, whether that's potential of mosquito issues, whether that's food safety. A lot of those things. Then obviously if it's a communicable disease or something, then that's our thing. So
Are there resources available for vulnerable population, seniors, and those with disabilities?
Sure, and I always often point to ready.gov.
Okay.
Has a lot of resources, and they have separate sections for some of those, which I think is great to kind of have a way to get some of the things that might be more specific to those populations.
I like what you said about doing the practice with the family, because if you just decide to come up with an emergency plan, it can probably be pretty overwhelming for the family.
Well, and during the event, you're more panicked and stressed. So if you've actually done it, and whether that's just, okay, where do we all meet as a family if there's a house fire? Let's actually do it once, as opposed to just saying it, so that you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think the meeting place is really important, especially if the phones go out. Even if the family's scattered throughout town, let's all meet here, and this is the spot.
It was like you and I at the Masters.
Yeah.
Like if we had got
We had a meeting
separated
spot.
because we didn't have cell phones, so it was just like that.
That's right. We couldn't. We didn't have.
We had to have it's something you hadn't done in years, right? Like, hey, I'll meet you back here in 5 hours, and you had to stick to that. So
we're so used to being able to use the phone,
Just
and if
meet
the
me
phone
here.
doesn't work, then we're lost.
What's one thing most people just forget to plan for in an emergency?
That's a great question.
There's probably a lot of things.
Right, I think sometimes it's the fact that things can go on for a longer period of time.
Oh, medicine. If you've got, you're taking medicines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't have that scattered all over the house. It should be ready to go.
Have a thing. One of those
Have
things.
your Monday through Sunday.
The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for the Jackson County Health Department, Stephanie Baker. More of the morning show in just a moment.